The O'Reilly Factor's on tonight.
You know what was fascinating? To watch you at the inauguration with Barack Obama. You guys seem to get along.
We get along. I don't know if he'll admit this, but he likes me.
My interview with Donald Trump making headlines all over the world. Tonight we'll play you the portion you did not see in the Super Bowl pregame program.
Why do the Democrats oppose protecting Americans from violent foreign criminals?
Because they think that's their voter.
That question around the sanctuary city case law controversy. The president vowing to crack down hard on areas that do not obey federal law.
Have you done drugs?
I've done more drugs than I have fingers.
Also tonight, can you believe it? Water's World has done 300 episodes. Why is this allowed?
Do you want to do the thing?
This is what you get paid to do.
Caution, you are about to enter the no spin zone. Factor begins right now. Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. As you may know, my interview with President Trump making headlines all over the world. And tonight we will show you what you did not see in this Super Bowl pregame show. So here's what happened. We interviewed the president on Friday afternoon at the White House. The interview ran about 40 minutes, 10 of which were used by Fox Sports. So that leaves us with half an hour to show you tonight and tomorrow. Big headlines out of the Super Bowl interview were Mr. Trump's comments on the Russian tyrant Putin and the Obamacare rollout. It's interesting to watch our two competing cable news stations, which hate Mr. Trump to an unhealthy degree, try to analyze what the president told me. I thought Donald Trump was straightforward and honest in that interview, whether you liked his answers or not. But the Trump haters were trying desperately to find something with which to hammer the president. Also, apparently, the Putin administration in Moscow demanding that I, your humble correspondent, apologize for saying old Vlad is a killer. So I'm working on that apology, but it may take a little time. Might want to check in with me around 2023. In a conference call with reporters, Putin's press guy said this.
We
think that words like that coming from the Fox correspondent are unacceptable, offensive, and to be honest, we would prefer to get an apology to the president coming from such a respected company.
One footnote, if you'd like to know more about the violent history of Vladimir Putin, you might check out the book I War by Bill Gertz, a Washington Times reporter. Anyway, tonight, we have a number of subjects that we presented to President Trump. Here they are.
Let's talk about Iran. Your assessment, do you think we're on a collision course, we being the United States, with that country?
I think it was the worst deal I've ever seen negotiated. I think it was a deal that should have never been negotiated. Absolutely, the deal that was made by the Obama administration. I think it's a shame that we've had a deal like that and that we had to sign a deal like that, and there was no reason to do it. And if you're going to do it, have a good deal. Secretary Kerry, who was negotiating it, never once left the table. We have the worst of everything. We've already given them billions and billions, probably $150 billion. We gave them $1.7 billion in cash, which is unheard of. And we put the money up, and we have really nothing to show for it.
Possible you tear it up?
We'll see what happens. I mean, we're going to see what happens. I can say this. They have total disregard for our country. They are the #1 terrorist state. They're sending money all over the place and weapons, and can't do that.
Sanctions, that's how you're going to start with them.
Just started.
But you're moving a carrier, right?
Well, we just started with sanctions. I never talk about military moves. I always criticize President Obama where they'd have an announcement that they're going into Mosul or they're going to some place and they'd give the name, the date, the time. I don't believe in that. Let's see what happens, but I don't like to talk about what we do militarily.
So you're not real bullish on Iran at this point?
No, I'm not bullish. It's like they're emboldened. Where they follow our planes, they circle our ships with their little boats, and they scream things at us. What's happened is not good. You would have thought that with the deal they made, which was a great deal for them and a horrible deal for us, they would have had a warmth toward our country, and it's exactly the opposite. They lost respect because they can't believe anybody could be so stupid as to make a deal like that.
Let's talk about Mexico. There was a report, you talked to President Nieto, and you told him, this was the report, I want to know if this is true or not, that if his army couldn't handle the drug cartels, that U.S. Army soldiers would. Did you say that?
We have to do something about the cartels. I did talk to him about it. I want to help him with it. I think he's a very good man. We have a very good relationship, as you probably know. We're going to have a wall. We're going to have a border. We've got to stop drugs from coming into our country. And if he can't handle it, and maybe they can and maybe they can't, or maybe he needs help, he seemed very willing to get help from us because he has got a problem.
Got a problem.
And it's a real problem for us.
So President Nieto of Mexico was open to the possibility of U.S. forces, all right, helping him combat the drug cartels.
I would rather, as a very nice man that he is and somebody I respect, I'd rather have him respond to that. But I will tell you, I certainly offered him help on knocking out the drug cartels because we have got a problem. Don't forget, those cartels are operating in our country, and they're poisoning the youth of our country. And by the way, countries all over the world, just so you understand. This is a cartel all over the world, the cartels. But I certainly would help him if he needed the help.
At this point, do you consider Mexico a corrupt country? Because this stuff has been going on for decades. Is Mexico corrupt?
Well, it's a country that's got difficulty. It certainly has done well with us. We have a trade deficit with Mexico of $60 billion a year. That doesn't include drugs, and it doesn't include the border and all of the things that are happening on the border. But it's a country that I have great respect for the people. I love the people. I really like this administration. I think he's a good man. We get along very well. But they have problems controlling aspects of their country. There's no question about it. And I would say the drugs and the drug cartels, number one.
Have you figured out what kind of a tariff you're going to levy on Mexico to pay for the wall?
Well, we might not have to do that. They want to negotiate a deal. I want to negotiate a deal. We'll see what happens. But we can always do a tariff or a tax if necessary, and we'll do that if necessary. But if we can make a deal, a reassignment of NAFTA, but I'm going to put another F in the name NAFTA, because right now it's free trade, and I'm going to have it fair trade also, because it's not fair.
All right, so
we're losing, Bill, we're losing $60 billion a year in trade deficits with Mexico. Can't do that.
You talked to Putin last week. You had a busy week last week.
I'm pretty busy, busy week and a half.
But within 24 hours of you on the phone with the Russian leader, the pro-Russian forces step up the violence in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Did you take that as an insult?
No, I didn't, because we don't really know exactly what that is. They're pro-forces. We don't know, are they uncontrollable? Are they uncontrolled? That happens also. We're going to find out. I would be surprised, but we'll see. Now,
do you respect Putin?
I do respect him.
Do you? Why?
Well, I respect a lot of people, but that doesn't mean I'm going to get along with him. He's a leader of his country. I say it's better to get along with Russia than not. Will I get along with him? I have no idea. It's very
He's a
possible
killer,
I
though.
won't.
Putin's a killer.
A lot of killers. We got a lot of killers. Why, you think our country's so innocent? Do you think our country's so innocent?
I don't know of any government leaders that are killers anymore.
Well, take a look at what we've done, too. We've made a lot of mistakes. I've been against the war in Iraq from the beginning.
Yeah, mistakes are different than...
A lot of mistakes, okay, but a lot of people were killed. So a lot of killers around, believe me.
You mentioned ISIS. Can we expect, we the American people, more U.S. military action against ISIS?
You know, I hate to be evasive, but I
don't have to tell me specifically,
about it.
just
I don't
in
like
general.
talking about it. I can say this. ISIS is bad. They're evil. They cut off heads of Christians and Muslims and anybody else that gets in their way. They drown people in steel cages. This is like, not since the medieval times has anything happened like this. And the previous administration allowed it to happen because we shouldn't have been in Iraq, but we shouldn't have gotten out the way we got out.
Right.
It created a vacuum. ISIS was formed. I always said, take the oil. If you would have taken the oil, there would be no ISIS because they use that to fuel
But
their growth.
if you took the oil, the Iraqi oil, you would have to put in U.S. troops to do that, and then that would have started another round.
And you would have made a lot of money with the oil, and you would have had assets, and to the victor belong the spoils, and all of that. But forget that.
Okay, let's turn to domestic policy. When can Americans expect tax cuts? This year?
Yeah, we're working very much right now on the health care package, which I think will be, it's moving along very well. We're trying to get our person, Dr. Tom Price, approved. As you know, the Democrats are being, for purely political reasons, it's terrible.
But let me get you on the record here. 2017, can Americans expect a tax cut?
I think so, yes, and I think before the end of the year, I would like to say yes.
Okay. Can Americans in 2017 expect a new health care plan rolled out by the Trump administration this year?
Yeah, in the process, and maybe it'll take till sometime into next year, but we are certainly going to be in the process. Very complicated. Obamacare is a disaster. You have to remember, Obamacare doesn't work. You look at Arizona, 116% increase. You look at Minnesota, all of these places, it's going through the roof.
Yeah, it's done.
It doesn't work. Well,
Right.
wait.
But when
If
are
I
you
did
going to have
nothing,
something ready?
and we're going to be putting it in fairly soon. I think that, yes, I would like to say by the end of the year, at least the rudiments, but we should have something within the year and the following year.
Now, this is
and by the way, we will have something that's good, less expensive, and really great health care.
Next on the Rundown, part 2 of the Trump interview, we focus on immigration, Kate's Law, and Mr. Trump's relationship with President Obama. Coming right back.